Thanks. Raleigh. Great to see all you Rotarians here on a muggy Monday afternoon. As a winter lover, I'm excited. We're going to get a cold front later this week and back to more normal temperatures by the weekend. Great to see all you guests here as well. Hello to everybody on Zoom. My name is Carrie Suffren, and I am this year's president of the Rotary Club of Raleigh. Before we get started with today's meeting, we'd like to invite the chair, Tom Kelleher, up to the podium for invitation for that.
Thank you guys very much. I hope you can hear me as easily as you can hear the train in the background. If not, please bear with us for a minute, but we're going to give an invocation, and after that, we'll rise to the pledge of allegiance. You bow your heads for us. God, the paths of our lives are filled with peaks and valleys. When we're on top of the peaks, we become so self-satisfied that we tend to ignore the things of importance. When we're in the valley, we feel a sense of abandonment. And again, you can only focus on what is directly ahead and directly in front of us. Remind us, as you do in your nature, that above the tree line and the mountaintops are only the valleys, and that we can find the opportunity for true growth if we are paying attention to being part of your plan. Amen. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sing. ROTARY.
Let's go Rotary.
Thank you.
We have a lot of fantastic guests here today. So what I'd like to do here at the Rotary Club of Raleigh is pass the microphone around to our guests and have you all stand up, say who you are, what brought you to Rotary, and what you'd like to do with your time.
Hi, I'm Mike. I actually just started in position in Raleigh when I first started. And in the past, I've been spread out. Part of the field, club. So one of the gentlemen that I looked at, he said, no, you're new over it now, you might want to start to I would look at the group club, moving apart, and so that made me look at I'm here.
Hey, well, wonderful.
And in my free time, I like to hang out with God and live, and fish as much as I can.
Four people in the club, so the resident fee for visiting. All right.
Hi, my name is Rich Gals. I work with our guest speaker, the member of David Lipparelli at the Neighborhood Health Center, which you'll hear more about in just a few minutes. I'm the chief development officer there, so I do fundraising. And I'm a previous member of the Rotary Club of Durham, so glad to be back with fellow Rotarians. Daniel's now represented from our office, so I'm not actively attending meetings, but love the work that the Rotary Club does. And so great to do all service to our community. Thank you.
You want to get more involved with neighbor health, he's got a chat with afterwards. All right, we have two fantastic guests. It's Cable Gideon. Mind standing up and introducing yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Gideon Paparasa. I'm a Rotary Fellow for the UNC Rotary Center. I'm based at UNC, Chapel Hill. I'm hosted by the family of Mr. John Cates, who is the member of this Rotary club. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you very much.
Mentor, I recommended looking into the Rotary, but get involved in and give back.
Okay. My name is Brian Webster. Relatively new to Raleigh. joined today and learn a little more about the club. I'm definitely more interested in getting involved in the community at a service level and want to know what's going on. Programs and speakers, and it just seemed to be the right idea for that. Seems like good company with some of the other people.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, I just want to look at, so we know if I missed something. So unfortunately today, we are missing Frank, Nally, and Charlie Upshaw. They are both out of town, so you're stuck with me for $50. Anybody have any happy dollars this week? All right, Robin.
Three fund organizations number is.
Give it a mic.
They are 9, 6, and 3. And also, I'm looking at 27 members, so that's.
Oh, right.
Wow, thank you. Come on, all right, go.
Good afternoon, $50 because it is when. I understand this is the event, what it is over the minutes. I'm excited today and excited to do this one.
Hey.
Well, thank you guys, and congratulations, Robin, again, and to Joe. And don't forget the red buckets in the middle of the table. Those are for the Dementia Alliance of North Carolina. If you have any spare change, go ahead and drop that in those buckets. And coming up at the Rotary year, in just a month away, just a month and a few weeks away, we will count all that change up here and then give that to the Dementia Alliance of North Carolina. Upcoming meetings. Next week, we have Masha Maddox from Masha Dance. She is a professional dancer who grew up in Ukraine and danced in Miami, up to New York. And now she goes around and teaches choreography and dance around the world. And she also runs the Lake Forest Dance Festival. So it should be an interesting presentation. I don't know if we've had a professional dancer present to us before. Then Gideon Kapalasa, right back there, will speak to us on the 20th. And then we will have no meeting on Memorial Day weekend. And then back the first week of June, to start wrapping up our Rotary year for Dad and Peter. All right, district events. For that, we have a Rotary golf tournament coming up on June 3rd to benefit the Boys and Girls Home of North Carolina. Keith Chicone, who is not here today, but he is organizing that, and I believe he has 2 teams that are going. I'm not sure if they still have any available spots on those 2 teams. Reach out to him if you are interested. That's always a really great event. Randy Frazier in the past has run that, so if you have any questions, Randy, raise your hand, please. Yeah, go see Randy. Okay, anything to go ahead and head up here. We will be collecting donations for the Rotary Club of Raleigh's gift basket that will be given out at DisCon 24, not this weekend, but the next weekend. So if you have anything you'd like to donate, please bring that. Also, we'll be collecting some cans. There's going to be a giant can sculpture of some sort built at the district conference. Maybe I'm not exactly sure the design of it. But bring cans, there'll be a sculpture made, and then those cans will be given out to those that are facing food insecurity. So with that, I'd like to hand the microphone over to our own Nathan Thomas, past district governor, who's going to give us an update on Rotary Club of Raleigh International Grant. So I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm going to let you explain everything. It's very, very exciting.
Thanks so much, Carrie. Good afternoon, everyone. You may have noticed my elephant garb, and like Carrie said, we are fresh from a trip to Uganda, just got back last week. Some people ask me, hey, what the heck were you doing in Uganda? And, I want to throw my hand. Yeah, so to just talk a little bit about what we do in Uganda. We've worked now 15 years there. It's a whole nother program. And maybe we do that another time, but we put solar installations into schools and health centers in rural parts of Uganda. So places that do not have access to the grid. So we have a local team that goes out and carries out the work, we hire local, we have a local warehouse there. In the last 4 years, as I focused on preparing to be a district governor, and last year as district governor, we haven't had a chance to get back to Uganda. So this was very much so a homecoming, a return after some time. So where we left off was we finished 50 installations around the country and a plan to scale our work and do an additional 50 installations across Uganda. So the trip to Uganda, you can see up there some photos. What was to meet with our local Rotary partners and Rotary clubs in Uganda to demo out new equipment. You can imagine when we started this work 10 years ago, a battery you use for a solar installation looked like the battery that you might have in your car. Today, it looks like the batteries we have in our phone. The useful life goes from 3 to 5 years to nearly 20 years. So some massive changes in the renewable industry. And so we use the opportunity to do a demonstration project and share some of this new technology with prospective partners. One of the highlights of being in Uganda is to spend time with the beneficiaries of our work. So part of that was to travel to schools that we provided solar installations to. It was a great week to be there as students were just wrapping up their term. And you could really see the benefits of having access to energy to aid in security, studying, and everything in between. So that's a photo from one of our trips. One of the highlights of our travel is to go on a safari. And when we were there at the specific park, the guide told us there's 750 Rothschild giraffes left in the world. 75 of them are at this park. I hope we see 1 or 2. And then we just go down the road a little bit and turn off and we see about 20 of them right there. So that's just an example of just a special cultural and even maybe the tourist aspect of travel there that makes these trips special. So now that we're back, what we're working on is a global grant for Rotary Club of Raleigh. We have partners that have joined us from Cary, from Rotary Clubs in Chapel Hill, North Raleigh, on a grant. The idea is for us to use the funds to carry out more solar installations. So we've done the legwork of getting the funding arranged, and now we're going to start the process of working on the grant. Surrey, Leslie, and a couple of us have got together to start talking about fundraising for this. We invite others in the club who may be interested to join up and become part of our committee. And then the idea is for us to go back to Uganda then again next year and see some of these projects in person on the ground. So that's an invitation for anyone in the club who may be interested in making a trip to Uganda next year. Please join us. Thank you, Carrie.
That is very exciting. We haven't, as Rotary Club of Raleigh, we've done international grants in the past, global grants in the past. And this will be the first time in quite a while that we've participated in one. If you have interest in this, talk with Nathan. Sounds like there will be some opportunities for Raleigh Rotarians to travel over there and actually see some of these projects. So fascinating work. Nathan is an engineer. You're a mechanical engineer. So he's worked on actually designing these and implementing them. So thank you, Nathan. I'm super excited to see where this project leads in the future. All right, Tommy Kelleher, it is raffle time.
Thank you to everybody who contributed to today's raffle. I always tease you guys are always invited and required, but we will try to ask you every day if you want to buy a ticket, because we love supporting what this goes to, which is the exchange of students from other countries to here and our outbound students to other countries. We've got a winner today, and it's going to be 800-3020. We've been teaching the first person to tends to go well, so excellent.
All right, you heard it, follow Amy's example, grab those tickets right away when you get here. Thank you to everybody who supported this week's raffle. So Tommy mentioned our Rotary exchange students, so that's an exchange of high school students where we will be supporting, thanks to Surrey Roberts, we'll be supporting a young lady who will be studying Italy next year, and then there will be a young lady who will be hosted by us from Brazil. Shakima Lee back there, can you raise your hand? She is coordinating that effort for our club. There is also an opportunity for us adults to travel abroad. In this week's bulletin, you'll see a letter from the Carrie Page Club, Liz LaBelle, who is looking for some people to join in a Rotary Friendship Exchange to Sweden. They had 2 people drop out, so they have 2 spots available. So please see the bulletin if you're interested in doing that. That's going to happen. That's coming up pretty quickly. That's going to be in June, 2nd week of June, I believe. But it's a great opportunity to travel and meet other Rotarians from around the world. And the idea is people from Sweden will come over here next year. So I don't know, has anybody in this club done a Rotary Friendship Exchange before? And I think Racine Sinclair did at some point, but it's one of Rotary's programs to foster connection globally. So Richard Aker is unable to be here this week. Habitat for Humanity builds. We were going to do the one this Saturday, however, all the spots were already filled. Those are very popular. And we're working on getting one later in the summer. So we're working on coming up with a project later this month. But in the meantime, all of us have a heart for service in this club. And what we're really looking for in the service projects committee is a vice chair. So if you like coming up with different projects, you like to think of those projects, please reach out to Richard Aver, Linda, or myself, and we will get you plugged in. And start to look forward to the 24 through 25 Rotary year. The vice chair will also be in charge of planning and coordinating the Bluegrass event. So that's a joint service project fundraiser. And it's a great way for you to work with the club to get involved, meet some more club members, and just learn about that whole process. It's a really fun event where we're out on the street meeting people and selling watermelon waters. So if you're interested in helping organize and plan our service projects for the coming year and helping out with that fun two-day event at the end of September, please let one of us know. All right, Harrison, with that is membership time. Here you go.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. To all the guests, my name is Harrison Turner. If we have not connected, I will be over here by the door at the end of the meeting. We'd love to connect with you, tell you a little bit more about our club, and answer any questions that you have maybe from what you've seen today. So thank you so much for all being here. One thing I would say, last week I mentioned that I rapped in high school, and a lot of you said, "Oh, cannot wait to hear you rap next week." I care about membership of this club, and if I were to rap, we would have no members. So I'm just whatever.
I don't believe you.
Anyways, but we have a couple things from a membership standpoint today. Dr. Joe Shepard, he will come up front, and Richard, if you please join him. While they're coming up front, Chris couldn't be here today. Chris McIntyre, he was here last week for his first reading. He was here for his second reading. Well, he was supposed to be here today for his second reading, but was unable to be here. But Chris, he is the owner of MC Media, where he works on podcasts, short film, things like that. Looking forward to having him as a potential member of the club. If you got any questions about him, feel free to reach out to me. Dr. Joe Shepard, we get the honor of inducting you today. And I will say that I have the pleasure of getting to know our potential members as they come on board. And I've got to say, I'm extremely excited to have Joe as a part of this club. His energy, his passion, his drive, everything like that is connected so well to what we're doing. I think we're going to make a huge impact in this club. So very excited to have this induction today. So with that, we'll move forward with the induction. Today we have the induction of Joe Shepard, sponsored by Richard Walker. Joe's membership application has been reviewed and approved in accordance with our club's constitution and bylaws. We will now proceed in admitting you into the membership of the Rotary Club of Raleigh and the Friendship of Rotary throughout the world. First, I have a few questions. First, will you strive to live a life of service in ourselves? Will you join us in our activities and service projects and fundraising activities in support of our community? And will you join us in these 7 areas that Rotary focuses on? Promoting peace, disease prevention, providing clean water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development, protecting the environment. And fellow Rotarians, will you join me in fostering and supporting Joe as he joins us in our pursuit of adding value to our communities through service and love self? And so please say, I will. I will. Beautiful. Richard, I would ask that you provide Joe his lapel. If it doesn't hurt, it's not. Dr. Joe, we are so happy that you're part of the Rotary family, here locally as well as internationally. Rotary Club of Raleigh, would you please welcome Dr. Joe Shepherd to Rotary Club of Raleigh. We usually have a service social every month. For those who don't know, we do a social every month. We try to make it a service project. It's to be determined right now, end of May, because we're thinking of a creative service social coming up. It should be fun and a little bit more interactive. So more to come on that. And to all the potential members and people here that are new for the Rotary first time, Rotary is an amazing organization that is doing wonderful work in our community. And today has been a wonderful highlight of not just things that we're doing here locally, but also internationally. We have a large reach, and we need more people to join in this good work that we're doing. So look forward to talking with you more.
Thank you, Harrison. Round of applause for Harrison. Welcome, Dr. Shepherd. Thrilled to have you as a part of the club. Sorry, Jennifer, I always do that. All right, birthdays and anniversaries. No anniversaries, but we have several birthdays this week. Lewis Rogers' birthday is on the 9th, as well as past district governor and past president of Sinclair. Tommy Helmer, you have a birthday this weekend. Happy birthday. And then Mark Ford also has a birthday on the 11th. So with that, it is time to introduce our very own wonderful Daniel Lipparelli. Did I pronounce your last name? Lipparelli. Okay. And guest here today, I'm so thrilled that you're going to be able to hear about the work that Daniel and Neighbor Health does, as well as we've heard about a global grant that our club is involved in. So I'm going to read Daniel's bio in just a second. Daniel and his team do amazing work. They also coordinated, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot with Wake Smiles, right? And we heard from Summer Wisher, who is the executive director of Wake Smiles a few weeks ago. And that organization provides free dental care to uninsured adults. And that is a cause that the Rotary Club of Raleigh has supported for the last 10 years. So today we have the privilege of hearing from Daniel about Neighbor Health. And before he comes up here, I would like to read a little bit about his background. Daniel is a proven leader with over 20 years of experience in nonprofit and healthcare leadership. His prior experience includes serving as the executive director of the Edith Fishel Center for the Blind in Kenilworth, Washington, and serving as founder and executive director of Transform International in Kenya, Africa, where he spent over 8 years working with local communities on providing food, education, and shelter for over 500 children, orphans, and at-risk teen mothers. Daniel serves on the board of directors for React Kenya and as a volunteer advisor for Rehema for Kids, a Washington-based nonprofit meeting the needs of children in Kenya. He also serves on the board of the North Carolina Community Health Association. In addition, Daniel volunteers as a bin leader for Raleigh Club Scout Pack 318. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in social work and is currently writing his master's thesis for his MBA.
As Neighbor Health CEO, Daniel is charged with developing and executing a comprehensive strategy for continued growth and thoughtful evolution that will allow the organization to keep pace with the immense growth of the Wake County area. Since opening its doors in 2018, Neighbor Health has provided much needed care and services to more than 7,000 patients throughout our community, seeing a 42% increase in patients year over year. Daniel oversees the organization's growth strategy, which is focused on serving more patients, expanding service sites, establishing new healthcare partnerships, and enhancing community awareness of Neighbor Health's mission and services. Daniel has been married to his wife Ashley for 13 years and has a 9-year-old son. So he obviously is a very, very busy man. And he got involved in Rotary Club of Raleigh, and as the saying goes, if you want something done, give it to a busy man. And he has helped with the writing of our new PR document. So he's also a very dedicated Rotarian, and we're thrilled to have him here, and thrilled to have him here today to talk to us about Neighbor Health. Please join me in welcoming.
Well, I'm inclined to give up my time presenting today just to hear Eric's rap. This is a pleasure to be here with you. I'm just so honored to be able to share about what I get to do in my everyday life. And I have a type of job that is, to me, is a dream job because I get to go and work for organizations and serve their community and serve people. And I get to do something I'm really passionate about, and that's leadership development. I love to lead leaders and train leaders and to help people be better at what they're doing in our organization. I want to give you a little bit of background about myself. Got a 50-50 chance here. No.
Yeah. Give us just a second.
Got it. So I was born and raised in Reno, Nevada, and for all of you who want to know, it's pronounced Nevada. I got my bachelor's in social work from the University of Nevada, Reno. Shortly after graduating, that's when I began my nonprofit leadership venture, and I went to Kenya. And Kenya, I went there because my younger brother wanted to go, and he was going to go for 6 months. And I said, that sounds fun. And I had recently graduated and was in a transitional time, so I said, I'll go with you. And so we went to Kenya, and that 6 months turned into 8 years for me. And I would just absolutely fell in love with the country. I fell in love with people, but I also fell in love with nonprofit leadership. And so I started working with an organization as a country director, and then soon started my own organization, and had the opportunity to learn what it meant to start a nonprofit from the ground up, from the registration process, putting together a board of directors, and to do that in different countries. So I had a U.S. board, I had a Canada board, we had a lot of supporters in Canada, and we had a Kenya board as well, and to make all of that work together. This in this picture, the mud hut, that's a mud hut. It's plastered on the outside with a grass thatch roof. That was my house for my first 2 years in Kenya. And so I lived in a village, on an orphanage, and just ate all the same food the kids ate. We had no electricity, no running water. And I will say that's one of the best 2 years of my life, was living in that setting and really learning to experience what it is to have the bare necessities, and just to be so grateful for that grass over my roof when it rained, or the grass over my head when it rained. But this really began my passion as an individual for nonprofit leadership, and being able to start an organization and then build up a team. And by the time I left Kenya, I was able to turn the organization into the hands of the Kenya people that were there that we worked with. And that was my goal, was always to equip them to be able to care for their community and to put systems in place that would help them care for their community. I was able to raise up a staff of about 15 employees and had about 50 volunteers that worked for the organization. And through that, I was able to see I really love doing this. I love being in the nonprofits. I love helping people. And so when I came back to the States, I was able to discover what that looks like on this side. So I had the privilege to serve in a couple different roles. Before moving to North Carolina, I was in Washington State, in eastern Washington, not the beautiful side, I was in the desert side of the state. And, had the opportunity to do two jobs. I served as the executive director for a blind and visually impaired center. Had no connection with that or no previous experience, but they needed an executive director. And I was able to step in that role and really enjoy growing that organization. But through that, I realized as a nonprofit leader, there's one area that I really felt uncomfortable with and I felt weak at, and that was fundraising. And so the next job that I took was with a larger nonprofit organization in a hospice, and I became their director of development because I wanted to learn how to do good fundraising and how to have that aspect of being a nonprofit leader. From there, I started a national search of where I wanted to go, and I had been applying for different jobs. I was trying to find the right fit. And I really wanted a CEO position in an organization, and I really wanted one, quite honestly, that aligned with my personal values. And so, after a couple of months of searching, my wife and I were driving, we said, maybe we're supposed to move back to Kenya. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do. And both of us said, I really don't want to do that. But if that's what we're supposed to do, we'll do it. And so the next day I found a neighbor health center, found their job posting on a very obscure job board that I never heard of. And I looked at it and I told my wife, I said, how do you feel about moving to North Carolina? There's this interesting job. And she said, thank God it's not Kenya. So Kenya might be in our future, in the long future in retirement, but we came to North Carolina, my wife and my son. And we've been here 2.5 years, and I will say in our 13 years of marriage, no place has ever felt so much as home as North Carolina. And so we really feel like we've landed where we want to be. And this community has been so generous, so gracious to accepting us and offering the things that we value as a family and things that are important. Let's talk about neighbor health, because that's what I'm here to talk about. Am I doing it the wrong way? There we go. All right. So Neighbor Health Center is actually just coming up to our 6-year anniversary. And Neighbor Health Center was founded by a lady on the right there, Suzanne Berger. Suzanne Berger was diagnosed with cancer about 8 years before the doors of Neighbor Health Center opened. And she was in the room getting her chemotherapy, and there was a girl next to her, a young girl actually, that was crying. So Suzanne went over to this girl and said, hey, what is going on? What's wrong? And the girl shared with Suzanne, and she was uninsured. And because of that, she wasn't getting the type of treatment that she would normally get if she had insurance. And so Suzanne told herself, and Suzanne told her husband, if I survive cancer, I'm going to start a clinic for people like this. Well, Suzanne's cancer went to remission, and she worked for 8 years trying to raise the initial funds, getting the initial board together, getting all of the certification and qualifications in order to open up a Neighbor Health Center. And about 6 years ago, Neighbor Health Center opened its doors in our original location, which was on Lake Blue Trail over by UNC Rex. And the original location was 3,000 square feet. So we had 6 provider patient rooms. We had 2 providers on staff, a total of about 5 staff members when the doors open. And the clinic was seeing anywhere from 6 to 8 patients in a day. And shortly after that, about 1.5 years later, the need for the services had started to grow, and the space next to them became open, so they were able to push into the next office space and double the clinic to be 6,000 square feet. Now today, 6 years later, Neighbor Health Center moved into our new location. Our new location is right across the street. We moved a half mile up the road, right across the street from UNC Rex on Lake Blue Trail. On Blue Ridge Road. And our new facility is 17,000 square feet. We have 29 patient rooms for our patients, and we now have over 85 employees that are employed part-time or full-time as part of the organization. Okay, there we go. The mission of Neighbor Health Center is serving Christ by loving our neighbors through excellent, compassionate, and accessible health care. That was the founding mission of the organization. Neighbor Health Center is a primary care center. So we serve patients through primary care from pediatrics to adults. We also have prenatal care and women's health. We do integrated behavioral health, so we have behavioral health staff as a part of our team. And then we also have nutrition services. In addition, we have a whole slew of care management that we offer to our patients. So if they have issues with transportation, insecurities, if they need referrals to dental, like Wake Smile, then we're able to connect them with the resources in the community that they need so that they can continue, we can provide that holistic care for themselves. Neighborhood Health Center is a nonprofit organization, and we are also what's called a federally qualified center lookalike, FQHC. Now, there's a difference between a lookalike and a full FQHC, and I won't get too much in the weeds here, but it's important to know because the government has established a registration process for organizations like ours to serve the community that we're serving. And we're considered what's called a safety net organization or safety net health plan. So we're there as a safety net to catch these patients in the community that fall through the cracks. So let's say somebody who's uninsured, they don't have the ability to pay, they can't go to many of the primary cares that you and I go to with our insurance. They won't provide care for them. So what happens with these patients is if they don't have a primary care, they end up going to the emergency department. They get an earache, they go to the emergency department. They have a cough, they go to the emergency department. Well, that's not what the emergency department was created for. The emergency department was created for emergencies. But it's causing such a drain on our healthcare system. And it's also utilizing resources, our healthcare resources in areas that it shouldn't. And so the government came up with this idea of federally qualified health centers to serve patients who are uninsured. And so that's our primary target is uninsured and underinsured patients. I'll share a little bit about what our payer mix looks like and those different populations. But without organizations like Neighbor Health, and there's two of us federally qualified health centers that are in Wake County, without organizations like us, many of these patients, in fact, there are over 120,000 uninsured patients within Wake County, they would have nowhere else to go. I recently did a presentation for the Salvation Army, and I was talking to all of their care management, and they hadn't known about Neighbor Health Center before this time, and I said, well, when your residents get sick, where do you take them? And they said, well, we just take them to Wake Med across the street to the emergency department. And so again, that's such a drain on the healthcare system. I want to tell you one story to kind of just put this in perspective because it's really important to understand what the hospital system is made for and what community health centers are made for. So we had a patient that came to us a couple of years ago. But before she came to us, she was going to, she would get sick and have some breathing issues, and she was going to Wake Med emergency department. They would triage her. They can't diagnose things there because that's not what they do. They would tell her, I need to go to the primary care provider. Well, she was uninsured. And so not only was Wake Med having to write off the full expense of her emergency room visit, she didn't have nowhere to go. About a month later, she came in again, same thing. And then about 2 weeks later, she came in, same thing. In a 2-year span, this individual went to the emergency room over 40 times. Jeez. Her bill, single person, her bill, she's uninsured, so she can't pay it. It's over $2 million. That is one individual. Shortly after that, Neighbor Health opened up, and so Wake Med said, hey, there's this new clinic called Neighbor Health Center. They do primary care insurance. We want you to go there. And so this lady came to Neighbor Health Center the next time she got sick, and she got connected with one of our providers, Dr. Doug Briggs. And Dr. Briggs said, hey, every time you get sick, don't go to the emergency department, come here. And don't worry about an appointment, just walk the doors, tell them you want to see me. And so next time she got sick, she came in, Dr. Briggs sat with her, started diagnosing her, gave her some treatment. She went home. About a week later, same thing, she came back. It took them 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and then they finally found out what was going on with her, and they would be able to get her a prescription. Probably from having these symptoms. We get 2 drinks today.
Got lucky.
Yeah. I'll just try to talk about her. So he was given a prescription that kept all the symptoms away. and she no longer had to go to the emergency department. Now, because we're a federally qualified health center, we're part of a 340B medication program. So we get steeply discounted medication for our uninsured patients. Pennies on the dollar. So the medication for this individual, her monthly medication cost her $6 a month for her medication, but she couldn't even afford that. So we partner with another organization locally called FIX, and they give us free vouchers for medication assistance for these patients. So this lady who was uninsured and caused a $2 million deficit on Wade Med came to us for $6 a month of Wade Med. We were able to get that for free. We were able to give her medication. And now, in over the last 3 years, she has not had to go back to the emergency department. So that's one story, and I could give you hundreds of stories like that, that uninsured individuals have a place to go where they're going to get the care that they need. So this is our patients growth. We opened up in 2018 in the summertime. So our first full year was 2019. So you can see over the last couple of years how much we have grown as an organization. These are total number of patients, not visits, the total number of patients that we have. Our average patient comes in about 3 times per year. And so moving into our new clinic space, it's really important for us to continue to serve this population. Right now, we have about 19 providers on staff. Those include MDs, PAs, nurse practitioners, and behavioral health providers that are serving this patient population. In 2023, we had 7,000 patients, and that was an equivalent to 21,000 visits. So we had 21,000 people coming through our doors in the year 2023. Now, this is an important number that I really want to talk about for a minute. With the patients that we're serving, the uninsured patients, they use a sliding fee scale. And so when they come in, we want them to be able to have a part of their health care and be able to pay what they can. And so depending where they land on the poverty line, their cost of their visit is going to be anywhere from $25 to $125. But if they can't pay for it, that's not a problem. We don't define health care to anyone. They're ability to pay. Our uninsured patient average price that they pay is $35 for the visit. And so the cost of care is much higher than that. Our average cost for a visit is about $350. And so what they're giving is very small. And so our total number of unreimbursed care to our uninsured patients last year alone was $1.8 million. That's $1.8 million of care that we gave out to the uninsured patients without any compensation or reimbursement for that. Now, mind you, that could equate to $100 million that we would be using the hospital system for their health care. And so we're putting this expense out there, but we're saving our overall health care system a lot of money. There was a girl that came into our clinic recently, and I'm going to call her Lily from the story. And Lily she was about 14, 15 years old. She came in with her mom for a knee injury. And so we were able to get her in. She was a new patient. She hadn't been with us before. She was uninsured. And that's why she came over to Neighbor Health Center. And so Lily and her mom came in and they met with one of our providers. That the third one? They came in and met with one of our providers, and our provider said, "Hey, I need to send you to a specialist for your knee. I can't treat it here, but I see that you haven't had an annual checkup. Please do your annual checkup here." So Lily and her mom said, "Yeah, that'd be great." And so a part of one of the things that we do in every annual checkup with our patients is have them fill out a PHQ-9 form, which is a depression and an anxiety screening. And so that they fill out and just answer questions, and probably many of you are familiar with that when you go to your doctor's appointment. And they ask questions like, are you having a hard time sleeping at night? Do you ever think about hurting yourself? Things like that. So Lily filled out this form and handed it in, and her results were actually quite concerning. And so because we have integrated behavioral health, what we're able to do with that program is when we have a situation like with Lily, we're able to go immediately get a behavioral health therapist that's on our staff and bring them into that room. So we're not referring them out. I'm not telling them to go see a therapist 6 months from now. We're able to bring somebody in right then and there and help out with the care plan. So our behavioral health provider, Megan, came in and we asked permission to the family, if the mom, if that was okay, and she said, yeah, absolutely. And the mom was a little concerned and surprised by this. And so Megan said, you know, I see one of the questions you marked here that you're having a hard time sleeping at night. You want to tell me about it? And so Lily went on to say, yeah, when I close my eyes at night, I see my dead friend. And Megan said, well, tell me more about that. And she said, well, about a year ago, my friend and I were walking in the streets in Raleigh, and she was killed right in front of me, and I saw her die. The mom was shocked. The mom had no idea that this had happened. She had no idea that her daughter had experienced this. And if they wouldn't have come in to our center and gotten that behavioral health check-in right there, this may have never been disclosed. And so we were able to get her into ongoing counseling with our staff and can come up with a treatment plan for her. I guarantee if she went to the emergency department, if she was uninsured, they would not have given her a PHQ-9 and had an integrated care specialist come to talk to her. Those resources just aren't available. But in neighborhood health, we try to go the extra mile and the excellence that we provide to make sure we're providing that holistic care for our patients and treating them for every different aspect of their life and their. Probably see it better over here. Some statistics I want to share with you here. This is from our annual report, and we'll have this available if you guys want it. For 55% of our patients are English speaking, and 45% of them want to receive care in a language other than English. For the Raleigh area, that's a huge number. That difference, almost half of our patients are non-English speaking. And I'll come back to that. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We have our patients are represented from 80 different countries and speaking 160 different languages. About a quarter of our patients are pediatrics. 63% female, 37% male. Top languages spoken are Spanish, Dari, Pashto, Arabic, and Swahili. Now, I want to talk about our care mix for a minute here. So our largest population that we serve is Medicaid patients, and with Medicaid expansion that happened in December, we really started to see an increase in that. And that was a great thing for our community and a great thing for us as an organization, because we get reimbursed for Medicaid. So if we have a Medicaid patient come in, we're able to get payment for Medicaid for that patient. Then we have 32% of our patients are uninsured, 21% are insured, and 40% are Medicaid. Now, at the beginning of Neighborhood Health Center, we invited people who were uninsured to come in to help offset the cost of the uninsured patients. We could build their insurance companies. But as time came on, as a lot of our patients progressed in life and they got a good job, that they would provide insurance for them, they were able just to stay with us. And they really appreciated the quality of the care that we give, the type of care that we give. Carrie can attest to this because she came and toured our center. Our center is really nice. And when you think a lot of times of the community health center, you think of something that's run down, it's just donated supplies. But that's not what we want as a community health center, because the people that we are serving are the refugees, we're serving the homeless population, we're serving a lot of people that are just treated like second-class citizens everywhere else they go. And so if one place they can come and they can feel loved and cared upon and feel at home and feel dignified, we want that to be their healthcare practice. And we want them to know that we actually care about them. We want to make sure that they get the finest quality of care. And our providers are fantastic providers. My son, since we moved here, he became a pediatric patient in the clinic. And my wife takes him and she says this is the best pediatric care that she's ever gotten. And we hear that from over and over and over again. I want to talk a little bit more about this. So our patients are from 80 different countries and speaking 160 different languages. Those are some pretty drastic numbers. But what's happened is we've become the provider of choice for our refugee community in Wake County. So there are 3 refugee agencies in Wake County, and one now in Durham that sends their patients to us. And because we've established this relationship with them and because we were able to navigate the challenges that come with this community so well, we're able to love these patients so well that all of these different partners want to send their patients to us. One of the things that we do really well is we navigate the language barrier. So you can imagine 160 different languages. I don't have 160 different languages spoken in my clinic, but we use technology. We use a program called Propio. It is a healthcare interpretation program where we can dial in to a live medically certified interpreter in one of these 160 different languages, and we get somebody like that. And they are not just interpreters, they're medically trained interpreters, so they know how to interpret the terminology that we're using. And this has allowed our patients to be able to receive care in a language that's most meaningful to them 100% of the time. Our largest population, about half of our non-speaking, our non-English speaking patients speak Spanish, and so we do have staff interpreters that will help out with our Spanish speaking patients. We also have to use interpretation services quite a bit for those non-English speaking patients. But I've got a lot of them, you know, I didn't even realize that we are tied for the largest refugee population in the state of North Carolina. And so the refugees are just coming in. Whenever you see something happening internationally, you can guarantee in the next 6 months, we're going to see that population surge within our country. So our funding, I'm going to run through this last slide real quick. So our funding comes from patient services, so commercial insurance and Medicaid. We get funding from grants, corporate partnerships, and from community support. Rich Kells is our Chief Development Officer. He covers the community support and corporate partnership and grant piece. That accounts for 10 to 15% of our total budget as an organization. That is what helps cover that $1.8 million of unreimbursed care. We just had a fundraising breakfast a couple of weeks ago at the North Carolina Country Club, raised over $100,000 from our community supporters in one morning. These are just some of our partners, and I'm not going to go through this, but I like to put it up there because as an organization, we really believe strongly in partnerships and in leveraging our community to rally around the people that we serve. And so we have people that work in the homeless population, we have people that work in pharmacy, all different kinds of areas that we're making sure we're connecting with these individuals and creating a strong partnership for our community. What's the future look like for Neighborhood Health Center? We're anticipating continued growth in our patient population. Very likely we could max out our current facility by the end of this year. That's the trajectory that we're on. If we can keep enough provider staff, then we're going to be able to meet the needs of our community, the growing needs. But we want to make sure that we never have to say no to anybody. We want to make sure that as the need grows in our community, that our doors are going to be open and we don't have to send people away. And so part of our 10-year strategic plan is to add 3 additional clinics in Wake County. And so very likely by some point next year, we'll be adding a second clinic space, probably a smaller one, with a satellite. We want to start putting these satellites in our community in areas that are most meaningful to our patients. Areas where we see a lot of our patients coming from, where there's more transportation barriers, where there's less access to healthcare. We also want to add services. So we're looking at adding dental in the future. Wake Smiles is an amazing partner, but they can only serve probably about 5% of our population who needs care. And the dental crisis in our community is way greater than healthcare. There's just not enough people serving the uninsured patients. And if people have dental issues, that just affects all of their healthcare. And so we're continually looking for different services that we want to add to be able to serve the community and serve their healthcare needs. This is my contact information. I'll throw it up there, the QR code that takes you to our website. Before I answer questions, Rich over here brought a couple of different pieces. This is our 2023 annual report. It's been out for about 2 weeks now, so very fresh. If you would like a copy of that, I encourage you to grab one from Rich. And then we also have one of our rack cards, and these are what we give out to our community partners. They just tell more about our services. So if you know anybody that might be interested in our services, or you're just like, hey, I want to remember these things that Daniel talked about, then feel free to grab a rack card. And if you want a full stack, we can get you a full stack as well. Just a pleasure. I'd love to be able to answer any questions that you guys have. Yes, they were up there, and yes, we partner very well. So Alliance Medical Ministries, I think they're up there. Are they up there? Yeah. So the Alliance Medical Ministries is a free and charitable clinic. So they serve just uninsured patients. And so we refer back and forth all the time with them. A great partnership. There's about 5 free and charitable clinics in Wake County. And so we're really tightly knit with each of them. A lot of times they'll get a patient that gets insurance or gets Medicaid, so they'll send them to us. Sometimes we need to get a patient in sooner than we can, and we can refer them there. You guys help me out these.
Can you explain, I remember when I got to tour, speaking to the comprehensive medical care, you pointed out that you do have some OBGYN doctors there, so an entire family could be seen.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So, especially for our refugee population that comes in, I've lived overseas and I've had to navigate the healthcare system overseas before, and it's horrible. Navigating our own healthcare system is horrible, but if you go somewhere that you don't speak the language, you don't know, it's really hard. And so having pediatrics, adult primary care, women's health, prenatal care, all in one building, we're able to serve that whole family for the different needs that they have. So if a family comes in, a lot of times the refugee family will come in with the mom and dad, the 3 kids and grandma. They can all come there and get care from our provider team. And we'll schedule all their appointments around the same time, so this can take one trip. And then we have a phlebotomist on staff, so we're able to do all of their lab work on staff, so we don't have to send them out across the street to go get their lab work done. And then if mom gets pregnant, we have prenatal care. And so it's really neat for that warm handoff, because a lot of times that women will come in, meet with their primary care doctor, take a pregnancy test, realize she's pregnant. We can get one of our prenatal providers to come right over and say, hey, this is so-and-so, she's just not actually pregnant, you know, this is gonna be your prenatal team. And then that lady, when she's already had a baby, we get our pediatric team to come in and say, hey, you have a baby in a month, our pediatric team is up to be a pediatric provider. So just a seamless warm handoff and this continuity of care for our patients.
So great organization, great work that you're doing. Is this, do you have other entities around the triangle or around the state or in other states? I mean, this seems like something that should be replicated widespread.
Yeah, so neighborhood health centers are our only entity right now. In North Carolina, I think that there's 47 community health centers like ours around the state, and there are over 1,000. I think there's 1,200 nationally. And so this model is in different places, but every model looks a little bit different as well.
I know it said that the county was some of the one who involved that was like standard treatments that were private. What sort of specialist treatments like that, and your facility provide, do you need to do it? Like how do people get this kind of specialized?
Really appreciate that question. That was a big piece I left out. Thank you. So he's asking for our, if any of our uninsured patients need specialty care, how do we make sure that they get that? Because we don't have specialists on staff. But we have an amazing partnership with UNC Financial Assistance. And so when somebody comes in and they're vetted by us for our sliding fee scale, the forms that we do are very similar to them. And so if we have a patient who's uninsured and we need to refer them for specialty care, we refer them through UNC Financial Assistance. They don't make them reapply, but we've already qualified them. They just accept them, no questions asked. And then we're able to refer them within the UNC system. And most of the time they get their care for completely be free. Even for hospitalizations, we had a patient recently that was hospitalized for 2 weeks, uninsured. At the end of his stay, he got a bill for $0.
Yeah, great job. And the ratio of women and men coming in to see care really super up. Is that common in a healthcare provider setting that, women for that much more women are coming in? And from the perspective of, is there an opportunity there to kind of reach out to a certain demographic who needs care and not getting it?
Great question. Well, statistically, women go to the doctor more than men. So, men in the room, you'll probably know that. But with neighborhood health centers, the reason that skews so much is because of our prenatal care. And so because we have the prenatal care piece, we're lumping all those women into our total statistics. So if you take out the prenatal care, it's actually closer to 47, 53%.
Full data now?
I want to say one last thing. Carrie's always giving out lots of speakers. And so Carrie, in gratitude for.
And two questions for you, Mike, put you on the spot, I'm sorry. It was very impactful getting to tour neighbor health. Would you be open to some other Rotarians coming in and touring? So contact Daniel if you're interested. It's a beautiful facility, as he said, and it's wonderful to see everything that they're doing here. Second question, are you and Rich gonna stick around afterwards? Okay, so chat with Rich and Daniel if you have any questions. Thank you again. Another round of applause. All right, great meeting, folks. If you all could stand and join me in the hallway test. And the names we face, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Meeting adjourned.
All the things we think say do.
Thank you.